Hold on, wait. Did I see you at the Only and Living Experience last year? You didn't come? Let me show you what it was all about. There is nothing else like this. This is the only real estate experience that's made for us. Yeah, you and me. And not just you and me, brown people, faith-driven people. I mean, not only was it an experience, but they learned tangible advice. Plus, we had an amazing time. And guess what? I don't want you to experience any more FOMO. I want you to be there in the building this year. And I'm about to drop all the details for the Only and Living Experience 2025, and you will not want to miss this. Plus, I am gonna offer an exclusive sweet discount for the early bird folks who grab their tickets. So if you don't want to miss out this year, and if you want to take advantage of a very, very good bonus, I'm going to need you to do this right now. I'm going to need you to go to the episode show notes today, right now, join the wait list so that you don't miss out when tickets drop. I got it? Let's do it now. Now let's head back to the episode. I'm so grateful for my friend living his life courageously and authentically, because it deeply inspired and planted the seed for my life. A person's wealth is determined by their assets, investments, and things that they own. I say true wealth is about how you live it. Your girl is back. Welcome to Wealth Within Reach. Welcome back to another episode of Wealth Within Reach. And I got a good one for you today. So this story is so juicy that we're going to break it up into 2 episodes, okay? I am actually going to break down step by step how I made the transition from my W-2 corporate job into full-time entrepreneurship real estate, okay? And so first episode, we're just going to talk about why I wanted to leave my job. Like, how did I prepare? What did that look like? All the things, the backstory. And then part 2 will be like more in detail about, like the actual transition. All right. So here's the context. I did not at all think that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I very much grew up in a household where you were taught to go to college, get a good job, find financial security, and do all the things, right? That's what I was taught. And I really thought that I was going to be in my job until I was 65 years old. Okay. I was very much, you have your 2-week vacation, you clock in. I wasn't clocking in, but that clocking in, clocking out, it was a very safe life. That is what I was living. And I was fine with that. The biggest risk that we actually took, that our family members did take, we actually relocated to another state. They thought we were nuts to get up and move to Atlanta after being in Dallas for years. So that was kind of like the first big risk we took. But again, I'm climbing the corporate ladder. When we moved to Atlanta, it completely transformed my career. I remember when I first started working in banking in Texas, I went on 5 job interviews just to get the job, because they were like, I kind of think I like her, but I don't know what we're going to do with this little girl in this all white town. But I finally got the job and ended up moving to Atlanta and transferred with the same company. So I'm in Atlanta and I am networking. I'm meeting the bosses. I'm like exploring all of these other careers as I'm growing. So I've always had something in me that wanted to naturally grow, that I wanted a challenge. I wanted to, always kind of continue to challenge myself and like grow. And so I was doing that in the corporate setting, very much how I ended up doing in entrepreneurship. So after getting like 3 promotions and then finally being the manager, I was managing at the time a team of like 14 or 15 people, which was a little unique, becoming the manager in a place where you were a peer. That's a whole nother episode we'll talk about in the future. But I'm in this situation. So now I'm the manager. I've kind of like hit this glass ceiling in my department. And I want to be able to get to a place of, okay, I'm in the branch. I have done all the banker jobs. I have hit all the numbers. My team is killing it. They're a great sales team, one of the top sales teams in my region. I'm getting all this recognition, all this kind of stuff. Now I want to be able to be in a place where I have more autonomy, a little bit more freedom. Like I want to be able to maybe sometimes work from home. I want to be able to not necessarily be tied to have to see like customers every single day. I just wanted something different. So I remember I started shadowing this other lady that I had met in this like African American network event within my company. And she was telling me what she did. And I was like, oh my gosh, can I come and like shadow you and like look to see what you do? And I did that. And so these are all the things, again, I'm like walking you through these nuggets, right? Pick them up in a minute as you hear them. Okay. Just pick up the nuggets. I'm shadowing her. I'm learning. I'm meeting her hiring manager. And then finally like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the business kind of corporate side of the bank. Jobs are coming up. I'm applying for jobs. I'm having the best recommendations, flying colors all across the board with my reviews. And it's like, closed door, closed door, closed door, closed door, all in front of me. Also, at this time, I am making more money than I've ever made. My kids are all like under 5 years old. It's hard. It is a grind being a manager, and especially being in that type of mindset where you're the earliest person to arrive, and then sometimes you're the latest person to leave. Plus having 3 kids at home, plus my husband was he had a very social impact type of work. So that means that he was also working more. We were just kind of really burning the candle on both ends. We had already actually bought our first house. I didn't know at the time, but we were house hackers. I didn't know that term. I just knew that we were trying to grow to the next level. We were trying to move from beyond paycheck to paycheck, and we got a basement and we can rent it out and make some money. Okay. And so that's kind of where we were. We weren't in the paycheck to paycheck place. We have a little bit of savings. We're figuring this out, but I want to just be able to just pick up and have a little bit more autonomy. I remember I had this really fun friend. His name was Sam O. If you listen to the podcast, John O is his brother. Episode, I don't remember what it was, but we did an episode on grief. And so Sam O was John O's brother. And we were like really close with his wife, and we would hang out. And Sam was the original investor in real estate. Like he had bought mobile homes in college and was renting them out and like making money in college. Like he is like the OG with all of this. I'm learning about all of these wealthy clients. I'm asking them questions. They're telling me, oh man, I invest in real estate. I invest in real estate. So I'm learning. So all this is happening at the same time. Hope I'm painting this picture for you. Just moved to this neighborhood, getting to know what it's like to be a homeowner, learning about the power of real estate, falling in love with my community, at my job, trying to like grow to the next level, but also having a hard time managing being a mom and wife and leader. And then I have this friend that is exposing me to this new way of making money. And so he's like, man, these are my investments. This is how I do. Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, cool, man. Like, started just planting seeds. So then tragically, Sam passed away. We got a call one day. He went to a coffee shop or something like that. He was a pastor at the time, and he had finished like meeting with whoever he was meeting with. He got in his car, he fell asleep, and he didn't wake up at the age of 32 years old. And it rocked our whole friendship community. I mean, rocked us. I mean, he was a person who was ahead of his time. Like he was again an investor. He had moved multiple times. He like was like had a calendar and was like, all these things are things we do now, but he was doing that at like really young age. And so he just lived a very courageous life. Reflecting on his death, and I'm in this season that I'm in, of course, it's just something, sometimes you get to this place where it's like, something has to change. We have to do something different. Reflecting on his life actually helped to plant the seed of, okay, I'm going to need some courage. Like, if I had to summarize what I knew about Sam, is that he had a lot of courage. He would be doing stuff and we'll be like, I don't think you should do that. And he was like, I'm going to do it. His life gave me an opportunity to see him live courageous. And at the time, again, I'm applying to these jobs and not getting it, not getting it, not getting it, not getting it. Something about reflecting over his life made me stop and say, okay, Lord, could you have something else for me? Is there something else that I'm supposed to do that I'm like not even open to? Because I think my life is supposed to look like this. Am I missing something? Like, could there be something here? Again, my whole life now is growing in this way. I had started a education advocacy group. Like, we found out that one of the middle schools closed and all the kids had to get shipped to the other side of the town. And so me and these neighbors got together and created an advocacy group to help open the school. Like, it was a whole thing. Like, we were so invested in the community. And I'm like, okay, could I be missing maybe a door that you want me to walk through that I don't even see the door because I'm focused on this door? I gave myself permission to listen to see if the Lord was maybe leading me in a different direction that I unintentionally may have missed. And then that's when the whole idea of potentially starting a real estate business came. Because again, I was not an entrepreneur whatsoever. Maybe in high school, I used to braid hair. And I grew up seeing my dad have like a business on the side, but it was not ever in my plans. It was just something, there was a discontentment that I was experiencing in my current life. And what I know now is that that means that I was no longer aligned with the season of life that I was in. And God was trying to get my attention. By closing these doors, he was trying to get my attention to potentially be open to another door that I needed to walk through. And it actually, unfortunately, took losing like a really close friend and reflecting on his life to even be open to something else. And you may be watching and you may be here and you may be in a place just of, you just know something's not right. You just know, man, something is missing. Yeah, I'm making money. Yes, I actually like the people I work with. I actually like what I'm doing, but there's something else that I'm supposed to be doing. If that's you, then you may need to actually pray that prayer that I prayed and stop trying to kind of force the life that you thought you were going to have and be open to maybe where God is trying to lead you. And for me, you know, I had kind of slowly fell in love with real estate. Girl, that's good. That's good. Okay, now that I have you, isn't that conversation so good? Aren't you ready to take it to the next level? If you're here and you've been binging all my YouTube episodes and you are ready to buy your first or next investment property, but you just don't know where to start, you just need help to figure out what exactly do I need to do based on my specific situation to figure out how to get to the next level. If that is you, I invite you, along with all of my mentees, to join us in my Pathway to Purchase Your First or Next Investment Property program. This program is so amazing. This is how you are actually able to work with me directly. Here's the beautiful part about this program. You pay one time and that's it. It comes with lifetime access. Everybody repeat, lifetime access. There is no renewal fees, no annual fees. You get access directly from coaching from me. Every 2 weeks, you're going to be able to chat with me, figure out what your specific situation is. I'm going to be able to help you overcome it. Plus, you have access to over 50 on-demand trainings that's going to walk you through everything. If you're just now learning about what all this real estate stuff means to, I want to actually scale and buy my next multifamily property. It's going to teach you everything in between. And here's the best part. With the 50 plus on-demand courses, you aren't just learning from me. You're learning from the best and the best in the industry as well. You're learning from Dr. Joe about property management. You're learning from Dominique about out-of-state investing. You're learning from my top contractors on how to work with contractors. This program is so amazing. I even include checklists and SOPs and downloads. So if you buy a property and you have a tenant and you don't know what to do, guess what? There's a checklist for that. You're getting ready to do a renovation and you need a contractor agreement, guess what? There's a contractor agreement with that. I'm able to basically just provide everything for you. Why start from scratch when you have access to a program that is done for you? You have the support you need and you have the community. I want you to join me in the pathway to purchase your first or next investment property program. And guess what? Because you listen to this podcast, I'm going to give you a little discount. If you go to the link in the bio or onlylivingit.com and you enroll today and hit P2P 500, I'm going to give you $500 off. Yes! I look forward to seeing you on the next call. Come join me. I had moved to this area that people thought was the hood, and I thought it was the hood too. I was just like, I was scared to drive down the street. I had joined this church, right? We moved to Atlanta. We joined this church, and this is kind of backing up a little bit to give you context, but we went through this study by Tim Keller about living in the city and being on mission, not just like living life and going to work and coming home and the whole thing, but like actually being good neighbors, and how like you being a good neighbor can really help to share your faith with people, to help them come to know who the Lord is through you being a good neighbor, like actually caring about other people, right? And so we read that study together with a few other people, and then that led us to, like, as we were all in a season of like buying houses and stuff like that, that led us to be intentional about where we chose to move to. You know, while everybody else was looking at, oh, what's the best, school for my kids, like we felt like for us, if we were going to go down that route, which that's no shade to you at all, like that's where I am now, but I wasn't that season then, right? But we thought for us, why did we relocate our whole entire family from our safety net to a whole nother state to just be comfortable? We didn't do that to just be comfortable. And so we decided to move to the hood. So moving to the hood intentionally with friends, with some prerequisites, buying a house, being a good neighbor, advocating for my neighborhood, all those things, like God used, he didn't waste anything. God used all of those experiences to eventually get to me where I am in the story, where I'm reevaluating what life looks like. And so I'm in this neighborhood that I thought was the hood, and I get here and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like I found out about this history. I learned this, man, the civil rights started right there. Oh my gosh, Martin Luther King raised his kids in that house. Like I'm learning all the things. And so I started a blog. I started a blog called Urban West ATL. Okay. And the blog was just going to share stories about all the things I was learning, because it's a theme, I love to share all the things I was learning in real time. I interviewed business owners in the community and I shared their story. As I was learning myself, I was sharing with other people. And so I had done all this. I was telling all my friends about this neighborhood that they thought was a hood, but how amazing it was. And next thing you know, I have helped 10 or 12 people move to my new neighborhood, and I passed them on to the other real estate agent. And when I found out how much real estate agents made, I was like, wait, hold up. That's $100,000. I just gave away $100,000. And so again, I'm meeting these clients. I'm asking them questions. You're wealthy. How did you get your wealth? They're CEOs, they're executives, they're doing all sorts of things, but they all invest in real estate. I am in a place of the real estate that I have, the real estate environment that I am in. I'm also falling in love with that, the history, all the things. And so one day, just driving down the street, going from, where I live, where it's like vacant houses and people on the side of the road, just kind of chilling by the liquor store, to Midtown, bright, beautiful Atlanta. And the Lord was like, I want you to do something in real estate. And I was like, wait, what? Huh? From there, I just started to listen. And I did not have the plan. I did not have the 20 steps. I was just like, okay. I mean, even imagine getting ready to tell your boss. I had a really great boss at the time. He's a really great guy. And he helped me out a lot in my career. Again, top performer. And I was like, hey, so I'm going to actually leave and start my own company. And he's like, oh, wow. Okay. So what are you going to be doing? Well, I am going to sell houses, but that's not really it. I'm going to do some more, but I can't really tell you yet. That was the story. And then again, like I'm the breadwinner at the time. I am making almost 6 figures. I got 3 young kids at home. This is not a situation where it's like I am single. I'm 23 years old. I don't have no student loans, and I got a house full of roommates, and I live with my boyfriend, and my expenses is $1,000. No, I had real girl bills. Okay. And and yeah, I was like, so yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I don't really know how it's all gonna work out, but this is what I'm gonna do. And he was like, okay, I support you. And, I put in my month's notice because that's the kind of person I am. I like to leave places better than when I left them. And I jumped and did it. And it was so scary. It was not easy. It was very scary, and I'm going to talk about it in the second episode, like what the actual steps I took. But, I remember I had a friend who also happened to work in banking, and she had a couple years prior had made the leap from banking to being a real estate agent. I was like, okay, if I can at least sell like 1 house a month, I think we'll be able to be fine, And as she did it, she comes from the same place I come from. She went to the same high school I went to, and she was a single mom at the time, and she did it. And so if she could do it, I think I can do it too. And so that's the power of exposure. And it's also the power of you telling your story. You have no idea who is watching you, what they're going through, how your story can inspire them, because she had no idea that she was just moving and operating in her own obedience. And the Lord was using her story to actually draw me to the same thing or whatever. And so, yeah. And so a part 2, I'll talk to you about how I reached out to her and what the advice she told me. But yeah, I reached out to her and I told her what I was looking to do. It is one of the top 3 best decisions I've ever made in my life, because now I look back and it's been almost a decade since I have been an entrepreneur and since I left, and I cannot believe it. Like, we really out here for almost 10 years. Like, we really been out here. Like, this is not easy. We done went to COVID. We made it through 2024. We made it through lots of changes. Okay. And we still really out here. And then not even individually, as a family, we entrepreneurs, which is even more wild. I still be like, I can't believe like 5 whole people plus 2 dogs depend on us. Plus like employees and jobs. Like, it is wild to me. I can't even focus on it too long because I'll probably scare myself. But it's a real thing. And I did not intend on having this life. But you know what? I love it. I love having the option. I was telling Jessica, my podcast producer, how we used to, like back in the day when I worked in corporate, how we used to decide vacations. I got to tell y'all this story. We would have a big meeting of the year. Okay. At the top of the year in January, I will have my team come in earlier or we will stay late. And we knew that this was a meeting that we decided the 2 vacations for the year. Everybody got 2 weeks off per year. Okay. And that's wild to me now because I probably travel to about 25 cities a year, 3 or 4 countries. So it's wild to me to just have 2 weeks off, right? This is what we did. So I used to have everybody and shout out to my old team who may follow me because y'all remember this. So I used to have my team line up. Yes, line up from newest employee to oldest employee. Okay. And I hope I'm not giving anybody PTSD, or if you did this yesterday, then that's just what it is. It was seniority got priority. So if they're the oldest, you would choose what's your first week that you want off for the whole week, for the year. And so out of 52 weeks, you would have to decide what is my top priority week I want off. and you would choose that. And there may be people who want to negotiate with you. So you could possibly not end up with that same week. We had people who believe different things. So we had people who were Muslim, and it's like Muslims don't celebrate Christmas, but they celebrate Thanksgiving. And so it's like, oh man. And they couldn't necessarily, depending on their role, we couldn't have certain people off at the same time. If that person was off, you couldn't be off. So if you were off for Thanksgiving last year, you'd be like, but I want to get Thanksgiving this year. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't celebrate Christmas. And this was the thing, right? And then the second week of the year, it was the newest person. You got to choose the first week. And if you're in the middle, you just stuck. So I just go back and I think about that. And I'm so grateful. One, back to the original story, my friend's life, who lived his life unapologetically, for my friend living his life courageously and authentically, because it deeply inspired and planted the seed for my life. And then I am just very grateful for obedience. I'm also really grateful that the Lord gave me the courage to not have to have all the steps figured out and to be okay with that, because you can feel insecure that you're making this decision and you may not know all the steps, especially when you have people who are like, should you do this? I don't know about this, and making you feel like you're making the wrong decision. And so if you're here and you are thinking about making a transition, you know that something is off. You want to do something different. Maybe real estate is your avenue to do that. Is that tool to do that? I really invite you to plug in and join this community because there are so many people who also feel the same way. And you may be the only person in your circle that feel like this, and you're not crazy. You are not crazy. You just need to be around other people who have been there as well. And so, yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys. Next episode, part two, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break it down step by step because I didn't go to business school. I did not have a business degree. I did not want to be an entrepreneur. Like, it's sexy now. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. So obviously now being 10 years in, I figured a lot out. And so I want to walk you through exactly what I did step by step to prepare to take the leap into, entrepreneurship. I would say this too, because a lot of you here are real estate investors or interested in it. There are a couple different ways you can transition. And throughout this season, I'm going to be sharing you various strategies. You have some people who commit to building their real estate portfolio and, getting to a place where they're making enough monthly income with cash flow to eventually replace their income. And then once they get to that number, then they make a transition. Then there's me. Then there's me. That wasn't me. Okay. While I was building my real estate portfolio, I need to figure out how can I create a business that will then allow me to help take care of my family while still building my portfolio. For me, I created different real estate businesses to help me do that. You may be here, maybe you're a CPA. And maybe what you do in your W-2 job, you can actually use those same skills to work for you in business while you're still building your real estate portfolio too. And so I'm going to share different stories like that throughout the season. But this is why you got to come back. You got to stay tuned for next week because I'm going to be breaking down exactly what I did. You got to like and subscribe so you do not miss next week's episode, because it's so good. It's not conventional. It's probably not what you expected. You got to join the community, and you got to share this with 3 friends who y'all know y'all tired. Y'all know y'all are over these jobs. Y'all know y'all over these bosses, and y'all want to do something different. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Wealth Within Reach. I will see you next week. Bye. Are you listening to this and you're confused because you don't know what your next step is? You don't know what your next step is because you don't know what you need. Guess what? I got a resource for you. I created the Investor Roadmap Quiz to tell you exactly what you need to do based on exactly where you are. It's just a list of a few questions that's going to actually map out and tell you what you need to be focused on and what you need to be doing that will help you get to the next level. It only takes like 2 minutes. It's phenomenal. If you're looking to figure out your best next step, I want you to go to owningitandlivingit.com or go to the show notes and look for the Investor Roadmap quiz, because I want you to figure out what your best next step is. See you soon.